Diego's photo. This is my short biography, and this is Professor Diego's short biography. The introduction. Beyond the introduction, I will bring the two sections, one about public funding and another one about alternatives and possible solutions. At the end, I will bring the recommendations and then the introduction. The debate. The debate is on the financial of public accounts due to the growing aging population in Brazil and the continuous increase in public spending. And it's about health. Health is a constitutional public good with increased demands every year. The question is how to sustain this expense in the face of the country's economic reality. There are alternatives to public debt. Focus on improving public accounts. The government spending and its financing can be made possible through public actions with partnerships between the public and private sectors. 2021 last year, the primary deficit hinders the recovery for public debt sustainability and fiscal balance. The literature review. We bring Freitas. Freitas told that relevant growth in the year 2000 with the appreciation of minimum wage, the accumulation of retirements and pensions, and the loose criteria granted for rural works. Queiroz told that Brazilian population over 65 years has increased with the advancement of new health techniques available, fewer children, and a consequent decrease in the active age population contingent. Jesus told that the deterioration of social security implies an increased use of tax revenue to pay social security to the detriment of the provision of essential public goods. The study about first financial of public accounts. Restructuring of the balance. It depends on the central government on the increase of the primary effort in the coming years. Stabilization depends on the government expenditure that support various types of expenditure of a tax nature, such as the granting of benefits, subsidies, and incentives. The Brazilian pyramid. By the 2060, population over 65 years will be more than 25% of the total, according to the IBGE. The year 2042 will be the last year of positive population growth when births exceed deaths. By 2060, approximately, the stabilization may occur in this period. The next figure explains the decline of the young stratum. 0 to 14 years old will imply direct effects on the peer 15 to 64 olds, which will also be in decline. This is a figure, project population years 2010 2060. We can see that around the year of 2042 will be the decline, and then in 2006 will be the stabilization of the population in Brazil around maybe 194 million people. The fiscal situation in Brazil. GDP and revenue grew in absolute terms, but expenditure are also progressively increasing, with government problems of tax waivers and exemptions practiced by the central government. The problems. A situated aging of the Brazil population is an impact factor in the increase of health and social security expense, decrease in the PIA and behavioral issues of the population, influencing decrease of the number of children per family. Our article brings possible solutions to the problem of financial public accounts, focusing on health expenditures. As alternative, public-private partnerships, we call PPPs, is an option to carry out initiatives focused on long-term investments and great social importance. The relevance is to study a solution that complements the existing model in the country. We have the vigorous SUS. SUS is a health system in Brazil, but with increased demand for health service. Brazil, the social security deficit calls attention. And the inactives, the number of retirees and pensioners has gradually increased and approached the peer contingent. Brazil has public spend compatible with the GDP of rich countries, which increase the complexity of controlling public accounts. The necessary adjustment of public accounts to the country's new demographic reality exerts pressure on the dynamics of savings, on the accumulation of physical capital, and on the rate of economic growth. The goods, health, education, security are associated with population situation changing in age and the impact of the country's public finance. Now we bring another section, alternatives and possible solutions. Necessary debate for society and the country's economies. Health is expanded and health expenses are representative and important in the country. Its life. Public initiatives focus on infrastructure investment and restructuring of public service delivery models include public-private partnerships, the PPPs. Usually, the normative frameworks of PPP is investments to create or develop capital goods that is capital expenditure, such as public hospitals. The investments could be used for the health area, given the lack of financial capacity of governments to expand the care network for the elderly population. The advantage about PPPs. Brazil does not have the research for large investments in the public area and the support for large infrastructure projects, which are so necessary and important for economic growth. Unparalleled difficulty due to the decrease in the active population that impacts projects and investments in the social area. PPPs can be a powerful instrument to mobilize the private sector in partnership with the state, involving it in the solution and improvement of public accounts. We have some examples in Brazil now. A park and public lighting project is structured in Teresina, capital of Piauí state. The National Program for Technical Education Employment, the PRONATEC, it's about education and job. And Suburban Hospital in Bahia is the first PPP in health created in Brazil in 2009. And IBSER managed federal university hospitals. This is a figure about a comparison of Brazil with other countries, a public and private expenditure on health as a percentage of the GDP, Brazil and its partners. And in this figure, it's clear to see that Brazil has a expenditure like a rich country. The research question in the study. It's a debate on the financial public accounts due to the growing age of population in Brazil and the continuous increase in public spending. The methodology. This is a technological article, so there is no methodology in the template cannot be changed. The discussion. The discussion is about on the finance of public accounts due to the growing age population in Brazil and the continuous increase in public spend, and about public initiatives focused on infrastructure investment and restructuring of public service delivery models, including public-private partnerships, the PPPs. The implications. Estimate less pressure on public funds, greater fiscal balance, and improvement for society. Will be good to the country. And internalization of the proposal in the country is a potential gain with decentralized investment from the most populous cities to the least favored by existing networks. It's good for the population in Brazil. Suggestions for further research. It also meets the requirements of control, inspection, and transparency, our law LRF, and related legislation. There is no special treatment for this type of financial. There are limitations and implementation risks, and the results could be promised and with the partnership between public power and private initiative. Our recommendations: advantages of adopting PPPs, resumption of tax benefits and other financial opportunities, reduction of tax expense. Suggested proposal does not conflict with the current legal framework and can be effective. And the limit of 5% of commitments of the net current revenue is provided for the law number 11079, the year 2004. Thank you.